northern.
Yeah,
My mom was going. I told her about it.
It's like Samson in his hair.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
Like you're not doing something good, powerless.
You all set?
Yes.
Okay. Call the North Reading School Committee meeting to order for Monday, September 22nd, 2008. First item on the agenda is our regular public input, and we have nobody specific. I do not see for public input. So at this time, we'll move to our student report, and tonight we have Amelia Pulver from the class of 2010, and Jonathan Murray from 2011. Class of 2011. Okay, great. Ready, Jonathan?
Okay. For athletics, our girls volleyball team is still undefeated, and tonight they're playing at Watertown. The fall musical and act play auditions are today and Tuesday, and the musical is going to be called Fantastics.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. Saturday was the Apple Festival, and we had a lot of our school groups perform at it. The a cappella group, the chorus, band, string ensemble, and the Interact Club all participated at the Apple Festival. So that was a really good turnout. The student council is doing penny wars this week, and every class has a jar of pennies, and it's money to fundraise for Kevin Dong, whose house was burned down. So the money will go for him, and the winning class will also get a prize as well. SLAM, the Student Leadership and Mentoring, is meeting Thursday with the freshmen of Power Block, and SLAM is just a group that helps the freshmen adjust. They will meet with them occasionally and answer their questions and give them tips for the school year. The ACLU is meeting for the first time, met for the first time today, and all the other clubs have been getting together for the first meetings in the past couple weeks. And lastly, freshman class officers were announced last week, and they are Alex Beans, president, Julie Bash is secretary, Sarah Murray is treasurer, and Ariane Fusco is vice president. Now for schoolwork, I am taking anatomy and physiology this year, and we have been reviewing some basic stuff, material, but now we were getting into the body systems. So we got to do a Play-Doh and autopsy. So in class, for the past, last class and class before, we were given Play-Doh, and we got to cut out our base form of the human body, and then we had to do, with the Play-Doh, make an organ for every system and label them, and we had to put all the cavities of the body in as well. So I'll pass it around. They're all labeled on these little toothpicks, and we put a cover back on the body, and then we pretended to be coroners doing an autopsy, and we did the Y incision, cut open the body, and found what was wrong. And then we had to write a report on how a person died, and my Play-Doh person died in a car accident, and its lung was punctured from a broken rib. So this happened. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's pretty obvious what's wrong. This person's lungs are green. Something horrible.
Sorry.
Wow, and cookies. This looks like gum.
Jonathan, do you have anything to add to the report tonight, or?
No, I'm just kind of here to meet you all because I'm kind of new, but she pretty much covered it. I had put in before about the student council, penny wars, and the SLAM, which I'm a part of, but I think she pretty much covered it.
Okay, great. Any questions for our students tonight? And we'll be seeing Jonathan back, I'm sure at some point soon in the report, and we'll probably see you maybe back in about a month. Thanks. We'll pass this around and then we'll give it back to you.
Okay. It hasn't been graded yet, so.
Oh, Jerry. Jerry moved all the flags around. I don't believe it. That's a toe.
You should have color coordinated the flags with the parts of the body. It's very confusing.
Okay, well, we're studying this Play-Doh body. We'd like to bring up the senior class officers to tell us about the the senior trip they'd like to propose to us. And this is, we didn't have the senior trip last year, so it's good to have the officers back proposing something.
Before we start, we have a supplement to our proposal, which is our cover page, which wasn't able to be sent to you prior. We thought it would add an extra touch to it. And also we just got in today the quote from the bus company that we plan on using, and their tentative costs for right now. So it was all for you. All right. So we're four senior class officers. I'm Patrick Wicker. I'm the president of the senior class.
I'm Rob Flaherty, I'm the class treasurer.
I'm Kate Walsh, I'm the class secretary, and our vice president, Allie Freiberg, she's at a volleyball game in Watertown.
Yep.
So that's why she's
So we're here before you today to propose the idea of a senior class trip. We understand that the senior class trip that was previous years was the Disney trip, and in lieu of trying to find a senior class trip that would replace us, we did look at the senior class, the Disney trip option, and decided that wasn't really for us at this point in time. And so we tried to look for more alternatives, and the best thing that we found that we thought as officers would be most beneficial was a program called Adventure Bound, and I believe you all have the proposal there. And Adventure Bound is a overnight trip to Carrollton, Maine, in which they specialize in having a graduation function where the graduating seniors go there for an overnight trip and participate in a lot of activities like whitewater rafting, a dance, and so many other things. And I'll let my other officers take it away as well.
We think that this is going to be an enrichment trip for members of the senior class, for all of us to sort of come together before graduation. It's scheduled on the 16th and 17th. It's one overnight. We'll be sleeping in cabin tents. And this was designed to be this week because 2 weeks before the weekend before finals, and then after that will be senior week. And the cost, we're expecting it to actually, it said 220 in the proposal, I believe was estimated. But that was assuming a higher bus cost. We actually found out today it's going to be much lower. So we're expecting it to be about $187 per person instead of 220.
And the Grand Venture, which is only one night long and one weekend, it's a good amount of time for kids who play sports, and they can still go even if they play fall sport. So
I think in total, I think what we were trying to do was incorporate a lot of the students. As previous years in the Disney trip, I was aware that a lot of students were unable to go due to financial reasons, due to sports conflicts and all that other stuff, which really didn't serve the purpose of what a senior trip was supposed to be. So we found this option that really inspired us and said, oh, I think we can really manage it to have a good cost. We were already planning fundraisers, and if this was to be approved. We felt that a weekend would be, and just one night would be great for a lot of students who have a lot of obligations in the spring, which I know a lot of seniors will have. And I just think we're trying to accommodate everyone, and I think it's really accommodating in terms of every student.
It's a good question for Dr. Troten. In terms of organizing chaperones, is the senior class advisor or advisors responsible for that, or how do we make sure that the 1 to 10 ratio that we have is kept? Would that be the senior class advisor working with the officers?
It would be the advisor and Mr. Bernard, and I know that the officers have spoken with Mr. Bernard about some of those details, and I'm sure that everything is in order with our policy.
Okay. Ms. Davis?
First of all, I am delighted to see a trip that does not have Disney stamped on it.
I would have voted for
Many
Disney again,
reasons.
so.
You would have been the only one. You would have been the only one.
I will.
I love the idea of this sort of, bonding experience out in nature. My only concern is if we have any differently abled students, if they won't be able to participate, then are there gonna be any activities at this facility that they can use?
Yeah, there are things at the facility. I believe there is an arcade indoor area as well. And if for any reason you don't feel like participating in, there's rock climbing or any of those things that would require sort of I guess, higher physical needs. You can, you know, hang around in camp with your friends, go in the arcade, things of that nature. So it's not all, you know, physical activity.
And we looked at several options in terms of these kind of programs. There are several out there. And Adventure Bound really stuck in our heads because they give you the option. If you don't want a whitewater raft, it gives you so many different alternatives. There's a dance party one night. There's volleyball courts. There's so much to offer to the students. And so if you're not particularly enjoy the outdoors or whitewater rafting, if you've previously been on it, there's so many other options for you. And I think that's what really struck our when we saw this.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Vaca to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Davis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. We're all set?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a
One
good
thing,
time.
just one thing, if you could, if you do some fundraising, if you could just keep us, I know Patrick, when you were in for your reports, just keep us up to speed on how, you know, what kind of things you're doing for fundraising and things like that, that'd be great.
Sure.
Dr.
Can I ask this question?
Yes.
If there's really bad weather, what kind of cancellation, or is there a cancellation?
We haven't actually looked into that. I've been in discussions with the people involved, and I know that we have to put a deposit down and the payment's due 21 days before. I don't really know the cancellation policy, but I can get back to you on
Yeah,
that.
I think that would, you'd want to check that out, because, you know, the weather can be kind of iffy or questionable that time of year. And the second thing, where is this in Maine? Is it,
It's
Yeah.
it's 5.5 hours.
It's 4.5, and it's
up as far as Baxter State? And
it's far up. It's on like the western portion towards Canada. I mean, it's up there. Like, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
And everybody goes on the bus, no?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
There's no,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. The buses they can accommodate 50 each. The two buses that we have, we think that is more than enough.
Okay, you don't need that.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, school building projects. David, you have an update on the secondary school building committee?
Well, What you need to do, well, two things. The secondary school building committee is going to reconvene. The school committee authorized it to get back together to consider the revision of the statements of interest. And they're going to meet on October 7th. However, there is a need to post for additional members on the secondary schools building committee, because under the new guidelines, they've expanded the representation on that committee. So it would be my recommendation that the school committee authorize a posting for additional members to the secondary schools building committee.
But do we have to list, don't we have to have specific professional people or professions represented on the committee?
That is correct.
So we would have to list that in the
That's what I would
posting?
think. Right.
Is there any limit to how many people can be on the committee, or?
No, your current policy, the current school committee policy limits it to 7 unless you by vote decide to increase it.
Depends on how many specific
That's true.
persons have to be on it. What the categories are, if you want to have to expand it just to accommodate the designated people.
Well, some of the designated positions would include a representative from the town's finance committee, from the municipal government. There needs to be someone who has a background in not just construction, but engineering, so that they can look at some of the, I mean, we're not even at that point, obviously, but based on all of the regulations, I think it's important to set that committee up now rather than retroactively.
So we have, how many people, I know the committee it's reactivated, how many members do we have right now?
Well, there are 7 members on that committee, and there are several alternates. And Mr. Crucci, who is the chair of the committee, has communicated with the members and asked them to get back to him to determine whether or not they're going to continue in that capacity as current members. So that may require even further further members. There are alternates in our, I think our